Okay, how's everybody doing? There it is. There's a little enthusiasm I like. Good. Sorry for the delay. Okay, what do we got?
Obviously, a bit of a scary sight yesterday when Bogdan went down. Do you have an update on how he's feeling?
Yeah, I mean, football practice, obviously, we're trying to make sure that everyone's put in the best position possible. I don't have any comment or discussion about anything from that situation. He just unfortunately couldn't finish practice, with the situation yesterday. But I think just in general, for me, for you, everybody here, injuries will be something that we definitely don't talk about, outside of our own little world or put any sort of expectations on what that is. Injuries are a complicated situation. They involve a lot of different facets, from the players, the agents, the doctors, the trainers, the coaching staffs, the rosters. So for us, it's best to just try to evaluate the situation the best we can. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than just an immediate response. So like I said, unfortunately he wasn't able to finish practice. We're kind of going through the process right now to see what that is.
There is a report out that you guys fear he tore an ACL.
As far as me, again, just, we're not going to talk about it.
Is that part of the reason why versatility is so important?
You know what? It's a great question and a great observation. I think when you go through a season and you have rosters that are limited and you're only allowed to play with so many players active, that versatility is critical for all positions. Really, for maybe your long snapper, a couple of your kickers, and your quarterback. Everyone really has to have multiple roles on the job, on the team, and that's something that's critically important. So certainly, guys that can do more than one thing and do it at a high level have a greater value on the roster. Yep.
Coach, you kind of touched on this yesterday a little bit, but what's the difference for you coaching 90 players instead of just one, unit or defense, and how you like to move from unit to unit to unit, sort of a balls keeping an eye on the employees?
Sure. For me, again, it's actually, I love it because you get to actually reach out and kind of be a different part of all the different groups out on the field. Even as an assistant coach, though, you're always forming relationships with everybody across the board, whether it's the offensive side, defensive side, special team specific, whatever the case may be. This is just a great opportunity for me then to go hands-on the field, go see their work, see how they improve, maybe interject a little bit where I feel appropriate, which is always good. But just in general, it's as a coach, you want to be out there just coaching. So I get to do it in a lot of different facets instead of just one, which is great.
Teo Redding is a guy we saw make a couple of misplays yesterday. What have been your impressions so far?
Again, just a young guy trying to learn right now, a guy that's out there and trying to see how much he can handle from a mental part of it and what he can do physically as we get a little bit more experience with him. Just like all those guys that are out there, we're trying to get a better feel for what they do well and what we think we can push them to do more of. So he's working hard, like the rest of them, though. There's a lot of good young guys out there that are doing everything they can to try to show us what they can do.
What do you like about him in the undrafted process?
Again, I think for us to be able to have a player like that come in when we got him, certain skill sets that we really admired, one would be his ability to catch the ball. He's long, he's got some good range from that aspect of it and has a good catch radius. So that was something initially that we saw right away.
Speaking of young guys trying to carry on, I was talking the other day about how he can show you that he's improving as a pass blocker without really being able to pass block anyone. So I was just curious what you look for from those young guys.
No, the number one thing is going to be the mental part of it. Can they understand the concepts of the protection and the scheme and how it changes based on the different defensive looks that we can give them from that aspect of it? Can they kind of stay with the mental capacity of our quarterback, who obviously the different levels of quarterbacks that we have that are out there, that will change things from a protection standpoint and move it around. So the mental part of it is huge. And then after that, we're really looking at fundamentals. Again, like I mentioned the other day, there's a way to work fundamentals and teach them and evaluate them without having the contact part of it, and footwork and hand placement and pad level. All that's critically important. So, for us, we're going to evaluate all those things. We'll get to the contact part of it when we get pads on in camp.
We're used to seeing defensive linemen rotate in and out, in various schemes, but you have a lot of depth and talent in your secondary. Is that something that can take place in a secondary where you can rotate in and out and give teams different looks, not just week to week, but within a game?
Yeah, right now what we're trying to do is we got 90 guys, so you're going to have depth and rotation all the way across the board, hopefully in all positions, and try to get them all out there and get them evaluated. So defensive line, offensive line, DBs, this will be the most guys we have out there at any one given time. So that's got to be part of it. It's actually a little bit trickier than you think to be able to get everybody out there and get some reps and get an evaluation of everybody, and maybe have different situations where you want to put those guys and see how they respond. So some of the practice is scripted where we have obvious looks that we want guys to see, and some of it's not. So we're trying to juggle all of that at one time, which is obviously what we do on a daily basis. So it's a good opportunity for us to get that done.
Are there any units that are ahead of others, or maybe like ahead of schedule, what you would expect for this time of year?
No, I mean, it's a process. It's a process we go through, and everybody starts over, and that's what's so great about it. I think every year in the NFL, no matter what team you're on, there is a break from one season to the next, and you're really trying to restart and get going again. It's important to have that break. It's important to kind of regroup and, rest for the player standpoint, and then try to come back and go through the process again. And it's a building process. We're going to start at a much lower level than where anybody finished last season, and we got to try to work back up to that level the best we can.
And Matt, what if anything have you done or are you doing? Do you plan to sort of get to know your guys a little bit better away from the field? I mean, like dinners with position groups or Clays, we see that in Green Bay, different events like that people have.
Right.
Is there anything that you plan?
I mean, for us right now, I'm just trying to get my guys, to come out and work every single day and try to improve from a football standpoint. We certainly spend a lot of time together. We're going to be able to spend a lot more time together. So through that process, you are having general conversations with guys and kind of asking about them and their families and building that relationship. But, we have a limited time that we're allowed to be with them right now, and we're trying to maximize that time with football.
How do you think some of the veteran guys around here are adjusting to your coaching staff?
Sure. I mean, as far as for me, all I worry about is just trying to make sure that I'm doing the best job I can to prepare them for the day, and those guys are trying to do the best they can to go out and have a good day. So I think it's just a situation where everyone's just trying to do their best they can to, improve every single day and to show everybody what they can do at the highest level. And that starts with me, and I got to make sure that I'm doing that first.
This sort of piggybacks off the Kerryon Johnson question, but how important is it that you develop the nuances of position at all positions, as opposed to just the obvious things that stand out, like a running back catching and running, but the little detail things that lead to it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing right now is we actually have time to kind of talk a lot about the details and the details of the position specific when we get to the season where everything's happening at such a rapid pace, and even with practice with the limited amount of time that we'll be able to have from an individual standpoint, because you have to get the scheme and some different looks there. This is a great time to focus on the details, and the details are really kind of what separates things in the end. So we'll try to dive into as much of that as possible, and sometimes it's just as simple as your eye control or something like that people don't really understand a lot about, where you got to make sure that the eyes are placed in the right position or looking at the right particular player or front or whatever it is, or just, again, I talked about this before with the offensive line. You're talking about 5 guys that got to see a picture through the same set of eyes. Punt protection is the same way. So there's a lot of little details there that we can work on now.
You've incorporated more running in practices than we've seen before, whether it's laps or sprints. What's the philosophy there? Is that something that is specific to this time of year, or something that's just always going to be part of your practice routine?
Sure. I mean, it's just practice. We're just out there practicing, so I'm not really sure what was done before, but we're just trying to practice.
What about Stafford has made the strongest impression on you so far?
I think, a lot of the guys that have been here for a while have made, great impressions. I think in Matthew's case, he's he's a very hardworking guy. He's very open, very receptive, extremely smart, hardworking, and very tough. I think everything that everybody knows about him is 100% true. That's what it is when you meet him. But just, 100% just, great team guy, is all in as far as whatever is the best for the team right now and working to just improve. Again, he's another guy we're just starting over, trying to, regroup and get back into it and build the routine. It's a situation, like I talked about before, from a team level, but even as an individual level, each player here has to start over, and you have to start and build your body back up, your mentality back up, and your learning back up to a point where we can start the season. And then the trick is to be able to grow as you go through the season to improve all of those things.
Slay said this week that Stafford broke one of his fingers when he was a rookie with one of his fastballs. I mean, what's your impressions right now so far of Stafford's velocity?
Yeah, I'm not going to catch any of his passes, so I'll take Slay's word for it. I'm good there. All those guys are trying to, do everything they can to, throw the ball the best they can. So.
Where's Andy Jones been at? He hasn't been out there the last 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's, can be out at practice is out at practice right now. Those guys are trying to improve, and we have guys in different phases of trying to get ready for next year. So, guys that are out there are practicing.
Injury situation, personal?
No, again, it's just, we're evaluating everybody. We got different guys in different levels of readiness right now. So that's really kind of where we're at right now.
You mentioned Castle's athleticism when he was young. Did you go to his pro day at USC?
You know what? I did not go to his pro day at USC when he came out. My first exposure to him really was, when he showed up for practice. So, okay. All right. Appreciate it. You guys have a good day.